Wait, before you continue your day, let me ask you one simple question. What if you don't need to be perfect to start living a better life? Take a slow breath because today this message might change how you see yourself. We live in a world where everything looks perfect. Perfect photos, perfect bodies, perfect success. And slowly we start to believe, I need to be perfect too. So we wait. We wait until we are ready, we wait until we are better, we wait until everything feels right. But here is the truth. That moment almost never comes. Have you ever stopped yourself from doing something because you felt not ready? Maybe you wanted to speak English, but you were afraid of making mistakes. Maybe you wanted to start something new, but you thought, I'm not good enough yet. So you waited, and in the end you did nothing. I understand that feeling because I was like that too. There was a time when I told myself, I will start when I am ready. I will share when it is perfect. I will try when I feel confident. But days passed and nothing changed, because I was always waiting for a version of me that did not exist yet. And one day I realized something simple. Perfection was not helping me. It was stopping me. Because perfection creates pressure. It tells you that you must be better. You must not make mistakes. You must not fail. And that pressure makes you tired. It makes you scared to try. But life is not perfect. And maybe it was never meant to be. You know, sometimes we think that perfect means no flaws. But in real life, many beautiful things are not perfect at all, and still we love them. In Japan, there is an art called kintsugi. When a bowl or a cup is broken, people don't throw it away. They repair it using gold. So the cracks become golden lines. And after that, the bowl is not only fixed, it becomes more beautiful than before. The broken parts are not hidden. They are highlighted. They become something special. And maybe we are the same. We all have cracks. We all have mistakes. We all have moments when we feel broken. But what if those parts are not something to hide? What if they are what make us unique? Let's take another example, snow. When we think about snow, we imagine something pure and white, perfect. But in reality, snow is never completely clean. There is always a little dust, a little dirt. And yet, when you look at snow, it still feels calm, beautiful, peaceful. Because beauty does not come from being perfect. It comes from how something makes you feel. Or think about handmade things. A handmade cup, a small drawing, a handwritten letter. They are not perfect. The lines are not straight. The shape is not exact. But that is why they feel warm, real, alive. If everything is perfect, it can feel cold, like a machine. But when something has small imperfections, it feels human, and we connect with it more. So maybe we don't need to fix everything. We don't need to hide every mistake. Sometimes we just need to see them differently. Instead of saying, this is not good enough, you can say, this is part of my story. And when you start to see your imperfections this way, something changes inside you. You feel lighter, you feel freer. And this is something very powerful. The power of not perfection. When you stop trying to be perfect, you start taking action. When you accept that mistakes are okay, you start learning faster. When you allow yourself to be imperfect, you give yourself permission to grow. Perfection says, wait until everything is right. But growth says, start now and improve along the way. Progress does not come from perfection. It comes from action. trying, failing, fixing, and improving again. Think about the first airplane. It was not perfect. It was simple and limited, but someone still built it. And because of that, today we can fly across the world. Think about the early internet. It was slow and unstable, but people still used it. They kept improving it. And now it connects billions of people every day. Every great product you see today started as version 1. Not perfect, sometimes full of mistakes, but it was real and it was moving forward. They did not wait to be perfect. They chose to begin, and they chose to improve along the way. And imagine this. If everyone waited until everything was perfect, nothing would ever be created. No ideas, no innovation, no progress. So maybe the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to keep going. And the truth is, most people don't fail because they are not good enough. They fail because they never start. But you are different, because today you understand something simple. You don't need to be perfect to move forward. You just need to begin. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall many times, they are not perfect, but they keep going. They don't wait to be perfect. They learn by doing. This is how life works. Not perfect, but progress. Not perfect, but better than yesterday. So how can you start? Let's keep it simple. First, allow yourself to be a beginner. You don't need to be good. You just need to begin. Second, take small steps. Not big, just one small action today. Third, be kind to yourself. Talk to yourself like a friend, not like a judge. And finally, celebrate your progress. Even small progress matters. So today, if you are waiting to be perfect, maybe this is your sign. You don't need to wait anymore. Remember this. You are allowed to grow slowly. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to be a work in progress. And maybe your imperfections are not something to hide. Maybe they are the most beautiful part of you. I will rest later. I will take care of myself after this. I just need to finish one more thing. You've said this before, and maybe you are still saying it today. At first, it sounds like strength, like discipline, like you are trying to build a better life. But slowly, something changes. You stop listening to your body. You ignore the tired feeling, and you keep pushing even when you are already empty. You tell yourself, it's okay, just a little more. But that little more never really ends. And pay attention to this. Every time you stay up late watching something, every time you don't sleep enough, every time you skip movement and avoid exercise, your body becomes heavier, slower, more tired. And then something happens. You try to focus, but you can't. You want to work, but you feel low. You have goals, but you don't have the energy to follow them. It's not because you are lazy. It's because your body is exhausted. When your body is tired, your mind becomes unclear. And when your mind is unclear, even simple things feel difficult. And one day, you don't feel strong anymore. You feel tired. Not just physically, but inside. A quiet kind of tired that sleep cannot fix because it comes from something deeper. It comes from not being on your own side. Imagine you are carrying a heavy bag. At first, it feels okay, you can walk, you can move, but you never put it down, not even for a moment. You just keep going. Step by step, the weight becomes heavier. Not because the bag changed, but because you never rested. This is what many of us are doing. We carry stress, pressure, expectations, and we never stop. We never ask if this is too heavy for us right now. Instead, we say, I should be stronger. But being stronger is not always the answer. Sometimes the answer is to pause. Because if you never put the bag down even for a moment, you will forget what it feels like to be light, and life will start to feel heavy all the time. So maybe before trying to do more, you need to take care of yourself better. Eat a little healthier. Sleep a little earlier. Move your body a little more. Rest when you need it. These things sound simple, but they change everything. Because when your body feels better, your mind becomes lighter. And when your mind becomes lighter, life starts to feel easier again. There was a time when I believed something very simple. I told myself, I will love myself when I become better. When I am more productive, more organized, more in control. But while I was chasing that version, I was slowly losing the person I already was. I was tired, but I didn't rest. I was overwhelmed, but I didn't stop. I was not okay, but I kept pretending that I was. Until one day I asked myself, am I really growing, or am I just forcing myself to keep going without care? That was the moment I started to understand something important. Self-love does not come after you become better. It starts when you stop abandoning yourself. And the truth is, we don't lose self-love in big moments. We lose it in small daily choices. When you skip meals because you are too busy. When you stay up late even when your body needs rest. When you keep watching things that make your mind heavy. When you ignore how you feel again and again. These are small things, but they happen every day. And slowly they create distance between you and yourself. Think about your phone battery. When it drops to 20%, you notice. At 10%, you feel a little stressed. At 5%, you look for a charger immediately. But when it comes to yourself, you keep running on 5%. You keep going even when you are already low. You don't recharge, and you call that being strong. But maybe real strength is knowing when to stop, when to rest, when to take care of yourself before you break. Self-love is not something big. It is not about changing your whole life in one day. It is about small choices, simple choices, but they change more than you think. It is choosing to drink water when you feel tired, because sometimes your body is not weak, it just needs care. It is choosing to sleep a little earlier, because rest helps your mind become clearer and your emotions more stable. It is choosing to step away from what drains you, because what you see and hear becomes how you feel. It is choosing to pause and breathe when your chest feels tight, because one slow breath can calm your whole body. And it is choosing to say, I don't have to do everything today, because rest is not a delay, it is how you continue. There is a simple truth. Small things, done every day, create big change. And this is how self-love grows, not in one big moment, but in quiet, repeated choices. Because every time you take care of yourself, even a little, you are telling yourself something important. You are saying, I matter, and the more you repeat that, the more you begin to believe it. And maybe most importantly, it is choosing how you speak to yourself. Because many times, the voice that hurts you the most is not from outside, it is your own. You tell yourself, you are not good enough, you should do more, you are falling behind. And you repeat it so often that it starts to feel true. But pause for a moment and imagine this. If someone you care about came to you and said, I'm tired, You would not say, "Try harder." You would not judge them. You would say, "It's okay. You can rest." You would be gentle. You would understand. So why is it different when it comes to you? What if, in that moment, instead of pushing yourself again, you spoke to yourself in a softer way, not to become weaker, but to become stronger in a healthier way? Because the way you talk to yourself shapes the way you feel, and the way you feel shapes the way you live. So today, you don't need to change everything. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to become better first. Just start with one small thing. Maybe drink a glass of water, maybe take a deep breath, maybe close your eyes for a moment. And instead of saying, "I will rest later," try saying, "I can take care of myself now." Not tomorrow, not after everything is done, but now. Because the way you treat yourself today becomes the way you live your life tomorrow. And you deserve a life that feels lighter, a life where you are not always tired, a life where you are on your own side. So if today feels heavy, don't run, don't push, just stay. Stay with yourself a little longer. And that is where self-love begins. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Have you ever said something in anger and then wished you could take those words back just a few minutes later? The argument ends, the room becomes quiet, and suddenly you think, "Why did I say that?" In today's video, we're going to talk about why this happens and how a small pause can change everything. But first, let me share a small personal story. A few years ago, I had a disagreement with someone close to me. It started as a small conversation about something simple, but slowly the tone of the conversation changed. I felt misunderstood. I felt frustrated. Little by little, my emotions became stronger. And at one moment, I reacted too quickly. I said something sharp and hurtful. At that moment, it felt justified. My mind was focused only on defending myself. I wanted to explain why I was right. But a few minutes later, when the conversation ended and everything became quiet, something changed. The anger slowly disappeared, and regret appeared. I realized that the original problem was actually small, but the words I used had created a much bigger wound. That moment stayed in my memory for a long time. It made me understand something important. Anger itself is not the real problem. The real problem is what we say while we are angry. Everyone feels angry sometimes. It is a normal human emotion. We feel angry when something seems unfair, when someone hurts us, or when things do not go the way we expected. But when anger appears, something interesting also happens inside the brain. From a psychological perspective, anger is not only an emotion. It is also a physical reaction in the body. When you feel triggered, the brain activates a survival system often called the fight or flight response. Stress hormones increase, your heart rate becomes faster, your breathing becomes quicker, and the rational part of your brain becomes less active for a short time. This part of the brain, called the prefrontal cortex, normally helps you think carefully, control impulses, and choose your words wisely. But when emotions rise too quickly, this system temporarily becomes weaker. In simple words, when anger becomes strong, it becomes harder to pause and think before speaking. That is why angry reactions often feel automatic. Many people believe the solution is to never feel angry, but that is not realistic. Anger is not the enemy. Anger is a signal. Sometimes anger shows that something feels unfair. Sometimes it shows that we feel hurt. Sometimes it simply shows that we are tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. The real challenge is not feeling anger. The real challenge is learning how to respond while feeling it. One of the most powerful skills in life is learning to create a small space between emotion and reaction. This space can be very small: a breath, a pause, a few seconds of silence. But that small pause can completely change what happens next. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin to respond more intentionally. And this is not weakness. This is emotional strength. There is also a simple story that explains this idea very well. A young boy once had a very bad temper. Whenever he became angry, he shouted at people around him and said hurtful things to his friends and family. One day his father gave him a small bag of nails and said, "Every time you lose your temper, hammer one nail into the fence in the backyard." On the first day, the boy hammered many nails into the fence. The next day he did the same. But after some time, he began to notice something. Hammering so many nails was hard work. So he started trying to control his anger. Slowly, the number of nails became smaller and smaller. After a few weeks, the boy was able to stay calm much more often. Finally, one day he did not hammer any nails at all. He ran to his father proudly and told him the good news. His father smiled and said, "Now, every day that you control your anger, pull one nail out of the fence." The boy followed his father's advice. Day by day, the nails slowly disappeared. Finally, the day came when all the nails were gone. The boy felt very happy and ran to tell his father. But his father took him to the fence and said something important. "Look at the fence. The nails are gone, but the holes are still there." Then he said, "When you say hurtful things in anger, they leave marks in people's hearts. Just like these holes." This story teaches us something very important. Angry words may last only a few seconds, but the pain they create can last much longer. Sometimes we say things we do not truly mean, but the other person may remember those words for many years. That is why learning to pause when anger appears is so important. When you feel anger rising, try something simple. Take a deep breath. Stay silent for a moment. Give your mind a little time. Often, after a few minutes, the emotional intensity becomes weaker. And when your mind becomes calmer, your words become wiser. Another helpful idea is changing the goal during an argument. When people are angry, they often try to win. They want to prove their point. They want to defend their pride. But winning an argument for a moment can sometimes damage a relationship for a long time. Instead, try asking yourself one simple question. Will I feel at peace with these words later? This question reconnects you with your future self, not just your temporary emotion. Over time, these small pauses begin to train the brain. Every time you pause instead of exploding, breathe instead of attacking, or soften instead of reacting, you strengthen your emotional regulation. Slowly, something beautiful begins to happen. You start trusting yourself more. You start believing that your emotions do not control your behavior. You realize that even when emotions are strong, you still have the ability to choose your response. If you sometimes struggle with anger, remember this. Change does not happen through perfection. It happens through awareness. The next time anger appears, you do not need to respond perfectly. You only need to respond a little more consciously than before. Remember this simple idea. Anger is temporary, but words can be permanent. So the next time you feel anger rising, pause for a moment. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is not speaking immediately. It is choosing your words carefully. And that small pause can protect your relationships, your peace, and your future. Thank you for listening, and I hope this message helps you grow a little stronger today. A star never compares itself to another star. It simply shines. And I want you to pause for a moment and think about that. When was the last time you allowed yourself to simply shine, without looking around, without measuring yourself against someone else? Because as humans, we forget this so easily. We look around, we compare, we start to question ourselves, and without even noticing it, we slowly dim our own light. We tell ourselves we are not enough, not fast enough, not good enough, not there yet. But what if the problem was never you? What if you were never meant to compete in the first place? So today, let's come back to something simple, something real. You were never meant to compete. You were meant to become. From a very young age, we are taught to compare. In school, we compare grades. We look at scores, rankings, and achievements. We begin to believe that being better means being higher than someone else. Then we grow up, and the competition does not disappear. It only changes form. At work, we compare salaries, job titles, promotions. We measure success through numbers and recognition. And after that, the comparison becomes even more subtle. We compare houses, cars, lifestyles, relationships, even happiness. We scroll through social media and see other people's lives, and without realizing it, we start asking ourselves, am I behind? If you look closely, you will see that competition never really stops. It just moves from one area of life to another. And the problem is, this kind of competition has no finish line. Because no matter where you are, there will always be someone ahead of you. Someone richer. Someone faster. Someone more talented. Someone who seems to have everything figured out. And when your mind is always focused on others, it never truly rests. You wake up, and there is already a quiet pressure inside you. You open your phone, and every image becomes a comparison. Someone is achieving more. Someone is living better. Someone is moving forward faster than you. And even if you are doing well, it still feels like something is missing. Like you are not enough yet. This is the hidden cost of constant competition. It doesn't just take your time. It takes your energy. It takes your peace. Instead of enjoying your own progress, you start chasing someone else's path. Instead of asking what truly matters to you, you ask what makes you look better than others. And slowly, your life is no longer guided by your values, but by comparison. You are running, but you don't even know if it is your race. Let's imagine a simple example. There are two people working in the same company. One person spends a lot of time thinking about others. Who got promoted? Who earns more? Who is more recognized? Every day, their motivation comes from trying to stay ahead. And maybe sometimes they succeed. But the feeling does not last. Because there is always another person to compare with. Another level to reach. The second person is different. They still work hard. But their focus is not on others. Their focus is on growth. They ask simple questions. Did I improve today? Did I learn something new? Did I handle things better than before? Their progress may look slower from the outside, but inside, something is very different. They feel more stable, more clear, more peaceful. Now ask yourself, which person will feel more fulfilled in the long run? This is where we need to ask a deeper question. Is trying to be better than others really the best way to live? Or is it just a habit we never questioned? Because if your happiness depends on being ahead of others, then your happiness is never safe. It depends on things you cannot control. It depends on how others perform, how others live, how others succeed. And that means you are giving your peace away, without even noticing. But there is another way to live. At some point in life, many people begin to realize a quiet truth. The real competition was never outside. It was always inside. It is not about being better than them. It is about becoming better than who you used to be. This shift may sound small, but it changes everything. When you turn your focus inward, your energy comes back to you. You are no longer wasting it on comparison. You are investing it in growth. You stop asking, "Who is ahead of me?" And you start asking, "What is one small step I can take today?" And this question is powerful because it is simple. It does not require you to be perfect. It only asks you to move forward. Maybe today you are a little calmer than before. You react less. You understand more. Maybe you take better care of your body. Maybe you speak more kindly to yourself. These changes are small and most people will not notice them. But they are real. And over time, they build a strong, stable version of you. Imagine again two people walking a long road. One keeps looking left and right, always checking others. Their mind is noisy. Their steps feel heavy. They're always thinking about how far they are from someone else. The other person walks at their own pace. They look forward, but also inward. They focus on one thing only, just one step better than yesterday. And step by step, they become stronger, more confident, more peaceful. Not because they defeated someone else, but because they stayed true to their own journey. This is the difference between external competition and internal growth. External competition creates pressure. It makes you feel like you are always behind. Internal growth creates freedom. It helps you see that you are already moving forward, even if it is slow. So maybe the goal of life is not to win against others. Maybe it is not to prove that you are better than someone else. Maybe the goal is much simpler and much deeper. To not give up on becoming a better version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, life is not a scoreboard. There is no final ranking. There is no moment where you can say, "Now I am better than everyone." And even if there was, would it really make you feel at peace? Real peace comes from something else. It comes from knowing that you are growing, that you are improving, that you are becoming someone you can respect. So today, you don't need to run faster than anyone. You don't need to compare your life with someone else's highlight. You don't need to prove anything to the world. You only need to pause and ask yourself one simple question. Am I a little better than yesterday? If the answer is yes, even just a little, then you are already on the right path. And that is a victory no one can take away from you. You don't have to become someone else to feel worthy. You just need to come back to yourself a little more each day. Trust yourself, even in small moments, even when it feels uncertain, because that's where real strength begins. Most people think the biggest problem in life is failure. But surprisingly, failure is not the problem for many people. The real problem is distraction. Every day our attention is pulled in many directions. We look at what other people are doing. We compare our progress with theirs. We wonder why they seem faster, more successful, or more confident. Slowly, our focus moves away from our own life. And without realizing it, we spend more time thinking about other people's progress than building our own. But here is something important to understand. Your attention is one of the most valuable things you have. It works like sunlight. Wherever sunlight shines, things begin to grow. If sunlight shines on a plant, the plant grows. If it shines on a tree, the tree grows stronger. Your attention works the same way. Whatever you focus on begins to grow in your life. If you focus on problems all day, problems begin to feel bigger. If you focus on other people's success, comparison begins to grow. But if you focus on your own learning and effort, your progress begins to grow. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Not more, not less. The difference is how we choose to use that time and where we place our attention. Some people spend many hours worrying about other people's success, comparing their lives, or thinking about negative thoughts. When our attention stays on these things, they slowly grow stronger in our mind. Problems feel bigger. Doubts become louder. But our attention can also be used in a different way. When we choose to focus on learning, practicing, and improving ourselves, something powerful begins to happen. Our skills grow. Our confidence grows. Our life slowly begins to move forward. Time itself is neutral. It simply passes minute by minute, day by day. But the direction of our life depends on what we focus on during that time. It is important to understand something here. Looking at successful people is not a bad thing. In fact, it can be very helpful. When we see someone who is doing well, we can learn from their habits, their discipline, and the way they improve over time. We can study how they practice, how they stay consistent, and how they handle challenges. That kind of attention can inspire us and give us direction. But there is a big difference between learning from someone and becoming lost in their life. Many people spend hours analyzing every detail about other people's success, their lifestyle, or their personal choices. They talk about it, compare it, and sometimes even criticize it. But none of that helps us grow. The real value is not in watching their life closely. The real value is in asking one simple question. What can I learn from this? And how can I apply it to my own life? That is why attention is so important. When you change what you focus on, you slowly change what your mind begins to see. And when your attention changes, the direction of your life can begin to change as well. When you keep focusing on negative things, your mind starts looking for more negative things. If you think something will go wrong, you notice every small problem. A small mistake suddenly feels very big. After a while, it can feel like bad luck keeps following you. But often it is not luck. It is simply where your attention is going. Your mind keeps seeing more of what it is already looking for. That is why attention is so important. When you change what you focus on, you slowly change what your mind begins to see. And that can change the direction of your life. Imagine holding a small magnifying glass under the sun. When sunlight passes through the glass, the light becomes stronger and more focused. In fact, it can become powerful enough to create heat. Focus works in the same way. When your attention is scattered everywhere, your energy becomes weak. But when your attention is focused in one direction, your energy becomes powerful. This is why people who achieve great things often share one simple habit. They protect their focus. They are not perfect. They are not always the most talented. But they choose where to place their attention. Instead of constantly watching what others are doing, they ask themselves a different question. What is the most important thing I can improve today? Let me share another simple story. Two gardeners planted seeds on the same day. The first gardener spent a lot of time walking around the neighborhood looking at other gardens. Some gardens had taller plants, Some had brighter flowers. Every time he saw them, he felt discouraged. He kept thinking that his plants were growing too slowly. Because he spent so much time worrying about other gardens, he sometimes forgot to water his own. The second gardener did something different. Every morning he quietly watered his plants. He pulled out the weeds and gave the soil time. At first his garden looked small and simple, nothing special compared to the others. But week after week he kept taking care of it. After some time, something interesting happened. The first gardener still had a garden full of half-grown plants, because his attention was always somewhere else. But the second gardener slowly began to see healthy flowers growing everywhere. Not because his seeds were better, but because his attention was in the right place. And this is how growth often works in life. The more time we spend looking at other people's gardens, the less time we spend taking care of our own. Real progress usually grows quietly, when we give our attention to our own effort instead of constant comparison. Another helpful way to understand this is to imagine your mind as a camera lens. When a camera lens is out of focus, the picture becomes blurry. You cannot clearly see what is important. But when the lens becomes sharp and focused, everything becomes clear. Your mind works the same way. When your attention jumps from one person to another, from one comparison to another, your thinking becomes blurry. But when you bring your focus back to yourself, your direction becomes clearer. You begin to see your next step. You begin to see what you can improve. And most importantly, you begin to trust your own path. If you want to try something simple today, here is a small exercise. For the next 24 hours, try to notice when your mind starts comparing your life with someone else's life. When this happens, gently bring your attention back and ask yourself one simple question. What is one small step I can take today? Maybe you practice a skill for 10 minutes. Maybe you read a few pages of a book. Maybe you simply finish a task you have been avoiding. Small actions may not look impressive, but they move your life forward. When you repeat these small actions day after day, something powerful begins to happen. Your confidence grows. Your progress becomes visible. And your attention becomes calmer. One day you may realize something surprising. The life you wanted was never built by watching others. It was built quietly, step by step, by focusing on your own path. So remember this simple idea. Your attention is like sunlight. Wherever you place it, growth begins. If you place it on comparison, comparison grows. But if you place it on your own learning and effort, your life begins to grow in the direction that truly belongs to you. If you feel tired today and you don't really know why, stay with me for a moment. Maybe it is not because life is too hard. Maybe it is because you have been trying too hard to be okay. You keep going. You keep smiling. You keep telling yourself just a little more. But inside you feel heavy. There is a quiet voice in your head that keeps saying you are not enough yet. You should be better. You should be further. And slowly that voice starts to feel like the truth. But what if that voice is not the truth? Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly enough, just as you are? Not when you achieved something, not when someone praised you, just you being you. For many people, that moment is very rare, because we learned early in life that we only have value when we improve. So we push ourselves, we rush, we compare, we try to become someone else. And without noticing, we start hurting ourselves in the name of growth. We think growth must feel hard, must feel like pressure, must feel like we are always behind. So even when we are tired, we keep going because we are afraid that if we stop, we will fall behind. But listen carefully. You are not tired because you are weak. You are tired because you have been strong for too long without kindness. There is a quote from Carl Rogers that says, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." We often believe we need to change first. Then we can accept ourselves. But maybe it works the other way around. Maybe real growth begins the moment we stop fighting who we are right now. Now let's talk about that voice in your head. At first, it may have helped you. It told you to try harder, to do better, to not fall behind. But over time, it became louder and harsher. It stopped guiding you and started pushing you. It tells you that you are too slow, not good enough, not doing enough. And the most dangerous part is that you start believing that voice is you. But here is the truth. If you can hear that voice, then you are not that voice. You are the one who is listening. In psychology, there is a simple idea. Thoughts are not facts. Just because you think something does not mean it is true. Imagine you are standing by the ocean and waves come and go. Some waves are strong, some are quiet, but you don't jump into every wave. You just stand there and watch. Thoughts work the same way. You don't have to believe every thought, you don't have to follow every voice. You can pause and gently say, "I hear you," and then ask, "Is this really true right now?" This small pause can change everything, because it gives you space, and in that space, you are free again. Growing without pressure does not mean you stop improving. It means you stop hurting yourself while improving. It means you move forward, but you don't push yourself down. It means you grow, but you don't lose yourself. There is another idea from James Clear. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. But your system is not only your habits. It is also how you treat yourself every day. If your system is full of pressure, you will feel heavy. If your system has kindness, you will feel safe to grow. So maybe you don't need a new goal, maybe you just need a softer way to move forward. Try this today. Instead of saying, "I must change," say, "I will stay with myself." Stay with yourself when you are tired. Stay with yourself when you are slow. Stay with yourself even when you feel not good enough. Because leaving yourself is what creates suffering. Discipline built on self-hate will never last. But discipline built on respect is quiet, steady, and strong. It says, "I care about myself. That's why I show up. That's why I try again." Not because you are not enough, but because you matter. And you don't need to fix your whole life today. Growth is not one big decision, it is hundreds of small choices. Choosing to rest when you are tired, choosing to forgive yourself when you make a mistake, choosing to come back instead of giving up, choosing not to disappear from your own life. There is a beautiful reminder from Brené Brown. Talk to yourself like you would to someone you love. Think about that. Would you talk to your friend the way you talk to yourself? Would you tell them they are not enough, too slow, failing? Or would you say, "It's okay, you're trying. I'm here with you." You deserve that same kindness. Not later, not when you are better, but now. So if today you feel tired, maybe you don't need more motivation, maybe you just need permission. Permission to slow down. permission to breathe, permission to be enough for today. Let me remind you gently. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are learning how to grow in your own way, at your own pace. And that is enough. Grow without pressure is possible, but only if you understand it the right way. If you understand it the wrong way, it becomes something else. It becomes an excuse to stay the same, an excuse to not try. And that is not real growth. Real growth is different. You still show up. You still try. You still move forward. But you stop being so hard on yourself. You don't grow by scaring yourself. You grow by taking small steps, again and again. Think about it. When you feel calm, your mind is clearer. When you are not afraid, you are more willing to try. And when you stop judging yourself, you don't waste energy on doubt. You use that energy to get better. You don't need to rush. You don't need to compare. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to keep going in your own way. Some days you feel good. Some days you feel lost. That's normal. That's part of growing. Growth is not fast. It is not loud, but it is real. So tonight, don't ask, am I good enough yet? Just ask, did I try today? And if the answer is yes, that is enough. You are already growing, not with pressure, but with patience, with understanding, and with kindness. And that kind of growth, it stays with you. In this episode, we will slowly walk through a simple 5-step journey. A journey to release what no longer fits your life, reconnect with who you truly are, and gently build a life where you feel calmer, freer, and more alive. So, let's begin. Before changing your life, start by noticing the energy you are living in. Energy is not just positive thinking or good vibes the way people usually describe it. Energy is everything around you every day. It is the place where you live, the work you do, the people you spend time with, and even the thoughts that repeat again and again in your mind. Energy is the feeling you carry when you wake up in the morning. It is the atmosphere in the room where you spend most of your time. It is the emotion you feel when you talk with someone. And it is also the feeling that stays with you after the conversation ends. Do you feel lighter and peaceful, or do you feel strangely tired and drained? Everything around you carries energy, and whether you notice it or not, your mind and your body are constantly absorbing it. So before you try to change anything big in your life, pause for a moment and ask yourself a simple question. What kind of energy am I living in right now? Does my environment support me, or does it slowly drain me? When you begin to see this clearly, something important happens. You start understanding what truly nourishes you and what may no longer belong in your life. Once you begin to notice the energy around you, the next step becomes clearer. Sometimes the reason we feel stuck is not because we are weak or unmotivated. It is simply because the environment around us no longer supports our growth. Just like plants need healthy soil to grow, people also need the right environment. You cannot grow in a place that no longer nourishes you. Every space, every person, and every habit carries its own energy. Think about the places you visit in your daily life. Some places make you feel calm the moment you arrive. But there are also places where the moment you step in, you feel a quiet heaviness inside your chest. People are the same. There are people who make you feel relaxed and comfortable every time you talk with them. And there are others who leave you feeling tired after every conversation. even when nothing obviously bad happened. Your body often senses these things long before your mind explains them. So if you want to reinvent your life, start by gently changing your environment. You do not need dramatic changes. Small shifts can already make a big difference. Work from a different cafe one day. Rearrange your desk. Clean your room. Open the windows and let sunlight enter your space. Spend more time in places that feel calm. And slowly reduce the time you spend with people who constantly drain your energy. Very often a new chapter in life begins with a simple realization. This environment no longer fits the person I am becoming. And that realization is not something to fear. It is actually a sign that you are growing. The next step in this journey is learning to let go. Over the years, we collect many things in our lives. Habits, beliefs, ways of thinking, expectations from other people, and even old versions of ourselves. Some of these once protected us. Some once helped us survive difficult moments. But as we grow, not everything continues to fit the life we are moving toward. Letting go is a little like cleaning a room that is slowly filled up with things from the past. If changing your environment cleans the outside world, letting go cleans the inside world. Think about old clothes. They were perfect for a certain time in your life. But as you grow, they simply no longer fit the person you are becoming. The same thing happens with thoughts, habits, and relationships. Some ideas once helped you feel safe, but now they may hold you back. Some habits once protected you, but now they may keep you stuck in your comfort zone. Some relationships were once very close, but now you may realize that you are walking on different paths. And that is a completely natural part of life. People change. Energy changes. Priorities change. Growth is simply part of being alive. So ask yourself gently, is there something in my life that I am holding on to only because I am afraid to lose it? Is there a relationship I keep out of habit even though I cannot truly be myself there? Is there a belief about myself that once protected me but now limits who I can become? Letting go does not mean you are rejecting your past. It simply means you are being honest about your future. When you begin letting go of what no longer fits your life, something surprising happens. You start to feel space again. Space to breathe. Space to think clearly. Space for something new to grow. But here is something important to remember. You cannot create a new life while thinking exactly the same way you always have. A different life requires different thinking. When your thinking changes, your choices begin to change as well. And when your choices change, your life slowly begins to move in a new direction. So start asking yourself new questions. How would the better version of me think about this situation? How would the calmer version of me respond right now? How would the confident version of me act today? You do not need to transform everything overnight. Real change usually begins with very small shifts. A slightly better thought. A healthier habit. A calmer reaction in a stressful moment. A clearer boundary with something that drains you. These small changes may look insignificant at first, but over time they slowly shape the person you are becoming. Because the version of you that you want to become is not somewhere far away. That version of you already exists quietly inside you. You are simply learning how to live more like that person through the choices you make each day. And this leads to one of the most important realizations in personal growth. Many people think they must feel ready before they change their life. But in reality, change often works in the opposite direction. You do not wait to feel confident before you speak. You speak and confidence slowly grows. You do not wait to feel capable before learning something new. You start learning and capability begins to grow. You do not wait to become disciplined before taking action. You take small actions every day, and discipline slowly builds. Your new self is not created by thinking about change. Your new self is created by the small ways you choose to live every day. It appears in the habits you repeat, the decisions you make, and the quiet moments when you pause and ask yourself a simple question. What would the better version of me do right now? And every time you follow that answer, even in a small way, you are slowly rebuilding your life. Great lives are rarely built in one dramatic moment. They are built through small choices repeated day after day. One better decision today. Another tomorrow. Over time, these small choices quietly shape an entirely new version of you. Before you finish listening to this episode, take a quiet moment to reflect on your own life. Ask yourself honestly, am I living in an environment that truly supports who I am becoming? Or am I staying in a place that slowly drains my energy? Remember this. Every single day gives you a new chance to move closer to the person you want to become. And sometimes the next chapter of your life begins with something very small. A new thought, a small decision, or the quiet courage to admit that you have grown, and that it may be time for your life to grow with you.